So before coming on to my talk, I'll just give you a brief about me. So I've been 5 years into AI and ML. I was sitting somewhere here 5 years down, looking up to speakers. I got a great opportunity to be a speaker myself now. Uh, I was a part of these groups. I've been an organizer for TFUG Bangalore. Now I'll soon be integrated with AWS. So glad you guys are here, if any one of you are college students. If not, yeah. I started a company of my own, didn't work out well. That's why I joined back to corporate. And then been to various shows, and when I'm not developing, not coding, what I'm pretty much doing is I'm lost in the random forest of Himalayas. Okay, so what are the challenges of finance industries? Uh, I'm not a pure finance guy, I'm a tech guy, but it's been a year in this industry, and what I have realized is these things. You know, there are financial frauds happening everywhere. You know, we come from tier 1 cities, at least we are aware of it. When it comes to tier 2, tier 3 or rural areas, a lot of people are not aware of things happening. I've listened to calls where customer call and say कि there was a call, उन्होंने मुझसे ये मांगा and account से 70,000 निकल गए. And this is something which is very common. Then how many of you guys have heard something like this? English में बात करने के लिए एक दबाइए, हिंदी में बात करने के लिए दो दबाइए. And then there are a couple of set of questions, and then you are on hold saying that the agents are not available. And once the agents are available, they fetch your details, and then they again put you on hold कि सर मैं आपको 2 मिनट के लिए होल्ड पे डाल सकता हूँ, मेरे को और इन्फॉर्मेशन चाहिए. Then being a victim of health insurance itself, the coverage that you get for so much amount of money you pay, where once you try to leverage, or let's say utilize what all things you have spent on, for example, health insurance or Mediclaim, and then you realize there's a star mark which was not told to you before. Because, and even nobody bothers to even read the whole set of documents which are, let's say, 10, 20, 30, 40 pages long, and there's just 1 or 2 lines that mentions it. And then the advisory, where according to my goals, where should I invest, whether it is mutual funds or which mutual fund is beneficial for me, which one is not. Based on the population of India, you cannot always go to the bank and there'll be an agent available for you. So these are kind of general challenges, but what I faced were these, and even today. One of the reputed banks, not mine by the way, but went to the bank, they're like, even after the RBI guidelines, it's again a meme, let's start. Sir, can we start after lunch? Awesome, go ahead. And that is something which is still common. But this indicates lack of people, because everyone is very much occupied that they are not able to address you at one-on-one. And the second thing, where should we go? Like, again, a personal experience where I had to encash foreign currency. I was traveling abroad, and I went to person. That person directed me to another person. Then that another person, I had to be on hold for 10 minutes on the bank. Then that person was like, "Sir, रुको मैं उनसे पूछ के आता हूँ." And then the whole transaction took place. And finally, the most important, customer call centers, where जैसे अभी IPL चल रहा है, there are lot of offers that are rolled out to you. If anyone is a cricket fan, you'll be having an IPL offer coming up to you. For example, if you are, let's say, a football fan, a FIFA offer will come up to you, and that keeps on changing. This Diwali ye offer hai, next Diwali wo offer hai, and it's very difficult for the agents to cope up. They're always changing policies, always changing offers. Then you have RBI guidelines coming in, ki sir ye nahi, aise karo, aise nahi, aise karo. And then you have customer coming up with the unique challenges. कि सर आप में ये नहीं काम कर रहा, वो नहीं काम कर रहा, and that one person has to remember everything, and that becomes a problem. But in the end, why all these problems really matter? What does it create an impact? why should we even think about solving these kind of problems? One of the biggest thing is 95% of the customers, this is again a study from Bain and Company, where 95% of the customers firstly wants to be switched from messaging to calls. Why is that so? Because they want a human touch. They want somebody who can answer their queries correctly. Or I would say a human-like touch. The era that we are moving on to. Then around 53% of the customers say they are frustrated when they don't really get a real-time reply. You know, there are a lot of customer chatbots already hosted by banks, by NBFCs, by Paytm, or any XYZ, or let's say even Zomato, Swiggy. And then you have to, again, you don't get a real-time reply and you still have to wait. A lot of people, nobody likes to wait. Everyone is in a hurry. They want real-time responses. And finally, one of the three customers switch banks because, switch banks because they want a better experience. And in the end, it leads to the loss of business for any company. So how do we solve this problem with, again, the FOMO going around, which is generative AI? Before this session, we had an amazing session before lunch on RAGs. So how do we address these problems? We have RAG-powered chatbots. Then we have something called as conversation banking and personalized financial agents. So I'll give you a brief about what is RAGs. Let me move to RAG, yeah. So RAG basically stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. You know, this is an architecture. This can flow into any of the use case. The beauty about generative AI is that you have a database, you have an LLM model. Now, why LLM is important? Because they make things very human-like. When you're talking in the morning, there was a keynote session where there was a song generated using Suno.ai. You know, on listening to it, nobody ever thought that it was made from AI. It was so realistic. You know, if you just remove Suno.ai from it and you just give it on WhatsApp, nobody will be able to figure out whether it was AI or human. So the thing about RAGs is, the things about LLM is, they make conversations human-like. And the thing about RAG is, they connect to your database. Now, let's say I have my financial document. Let's say it's my insurance. Now, in insurance, if it's a customer-facing, what I do is I upload my documents. I find out all the terms and conditions, all the caveats, and everything around it, and get my results out. The same thing, now if I need to understand what my bank is providing, let's say I'm having trouble, having some issues in, let's say, credit card, or I want to understand what my new offers are. I don't really need to visit the bank. Or I don't really want to be on hold to know that. Or let's say I don't really want to wait. Again, I don't want to see if there is a pop-up on my application to see if my bank supports it or not. What I can generally do is just create a RAG model. Again, these are already out there in our applications, not public-centric yet. But we'll soon be releasing it to the public, where we feed in all our bank policy data. It can be related to credit card, debit cards, FDs, mutual funds, every policy that you have. Then you have this a very high-level overview. In the end, in this, what also does is a time to live cache is there, where let's say the IPL offers, which is relevant now, may not be relevant after 2 months. The Diwali offer, which was relevant 1 year ago, will not be relevant today. So I have to remove those documents on a frequent basis. I have to add new policies on a frequent basis and have to re-rank them. So all these things go on in the backend, and then what happens is when you just type a query. And again, typing a query, again, is not so simple, where I don't think so anybody even writes correct spellings on Google search. Google to samajh hi lega. Itna uska database hai. And that habit has even, when we tried it on our systems, what we realized was Nobody writes complete queries. Let's say, how many launches are there on my credit card? And people don't like how many launches are there in my credit card. They just write domestic launch card name, that's it. And what they expect is an answer. And it is you as a developer who needs to figure out, okay, this is what they are expecting. And the beauty about this is, now, once you have a very crazy rack system in place, what you do is you add audio on top of it. Now consider this as an example where we come from tier 1, where people know how to use smartphones, have great access to internet, they are very much aware about financial frauds. And when we move on to villages, which consist of major part of India, where still people are afraid to use mobile banking applications, banks are finding it hard to reach those people. And then comes conversation banking, where in conversation banking, what we do is everything which is there in text. Now what you do is the only thing that you need to add is a speech-to-text layer, a text-to-speech layer, where if I'm ringing up a phone, and what I do is, let's say, I want to make an UPI transaction. There was a demo of UPI as well on this. I want to make a UPI transaction of 100 rupees to XYZ, and I don't have a smartphone. What I do is there's a customer dedicated deadline, customer dedicated line. For that, you call that person. Now, there is a speech-to-text happening. They understand what exactly you want to do, and then they make the transaction. So this was just specifically for transactions. Now let's scale it to every other feature which is there. If I want to understand about any query, what I do is I just call this number, I just make the transaction. Now I don't need to really wait for Hindi ke liye ek dabao, English ke liye do dabao. Because as soon as I say, with the ASR, which is automatic speech recognition technology, what I can do is I can understand what the language the person is trying to speak, and then convert it into text. And then from that text, what I do is I give it to AWS Lambda. AWS Lambda pretty much has orchestrators for RAG, which can be LangChain, it can be something of your own, it can be Llama Index, XYZ, whatever. And then from that features, they realize, okay, this is something that has to be sent to this department, or this is something that I can readily solve from my already available database. So now what you do is the same service, you put authentication, you can make a transaction. You remove authentication, you want to keep general services, you can do general services. And with startups like Suno.ai and various others, have generating replies that are so human-like that it becomes very difficult for anyone to understand or let's say make the difference. And you just, in the end, once the solution is developed, what you do is you convert that feature, the answer, whatever it is, to speech and give it back. And now you have a real-time response. Or almost near real-time response, far better experience than any other, the standard modes which are there. And so these are a couple of applications. Definitely there is a lot on fraud detection as well. There is a limit of time. But yes, if you have any questions, I'm open to the questions. And I try to cover everything. I try to cover what all the things are happening in the finance industry as of now, and the major things that can bring an impact. I hope it was helpful. And this is the QR code if you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And yeah, I'm around. Thank you, guys.